everyone has their own bait concoction. There's all sorts of flavors and stuff people put inside these bait barrels. But I can kind of tell you some of my favorite stuff to put inside of there, which would be John's. We use canned mackerel. Right here we have canned mackerel, canned Friskies, and I forgot the pellets of oil, or the pellets, but everybody knows what the pellets look like for shrimp. And then we use lots of oil. Now, I know for myself when we're shrimping, we kind of do two different varieties of baits. We have a thicker one that would be kind of, it's definitely thicker than creamy peanut butter, something that when I put it in the bait barrel and I put it in the pot after an hour soak, we're typically soaking these things for an hour, maybe half of that bait is gone. And then in our second bait barrel, we have a looser bait. And if I pull that up, you pull our pot up after an hour, my looser bait is basically gone out of there. I'm trying to create a scent trail to my pot, and then once they get inside of my pot, they have something to feed on with that thicker bait. And we've done really well too. If you had freezer burnt salmon or anything that you're going to disregard, even like kind of crab bait or herring, I like to hang some sort of bait inside of there when they're getting inside the pot. They have something to feed on. But what about you? Yours is probably super similar.
It's very similar in that case, but I like to keep it simple, and I use kind of like a recipe that I've modified over the years because we go through a lot of bait. And, and so the one thing that I've learned is not to let your bait spoil. And so I have kind of like what I call like the sourdough starter of the bait, which includes the pellets as well as dry cat food. Okay. Yeah. And so some people pulverize that or grind that up in a blender, but I don't do that. I don't have the time for that. So I like to pre-soak those pellets and the cat food with hot water.
Oh, interesting.
I use a 5-gallon bucket with the lid. I fill 50-50 depending on how much you're going to use, how many days you're going to head out. And so generally I can put like two gallons of the dry pellets, 2 gallons of the dry cat food. I use that as kind of a base. Soak it up.
Yeah, soften them
Real
up.
good tip is to grab one of those drywall mixers or paint mixers on a portable drill and use that to mix it once you circulate the rest of your ingredients, whether you choose to use mackerel or the canned cat food, but definitely have the fish oil or the shrimp oil in there, because that really adds that emulsification quality to your bait. Because as Connor said, and I totally agree with you on that, what you want to do is advertise or broadcast your bait. Okay, because that's kind of the beacon for these things, and so they've got a very keen sense of smell. They're going to see that cloud of distribution of bait and the scent, and they're going to follow that in. I mean, we're not going to be alone out there when we're shrimping. So you got to make your pot and your bait the most attractive to these spot prawns.
Exactly. No, I totally agree. Cool.